Hey, Coach. Long time no see. Hey, I gotta ask you a favor. Come see my boy play.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome back to the Rivercats Dynasty, where we recap Season 1, a very rough season for us, 0-12 obviously, and just looking at all of our games here, I mean, the first probably like 5 games were not even close. I mean, we got destroyed. But then we started to find some life in this Bowling Green game. 45-35 ended up being the final score. But honestly, I think we turned a page here in the program because I started to see an identity with the team. Now, I think this year was an evaluation year, obviously, and we got to see who will stick around in the rotation and then who will kind of phase out. And I think I started to see some things, especially on defense. I didn't really know the team too well when I started this dynasty, and then I started to get to know them. And now defensive wise, I will start to highlight more players. Offensive wise, we were very heavy there, but on defense, we just gave up points left and right. I mean, there was nothing really sticking out for us. Javon Warren, maybe a couple of guys, Nick Sturger in the Ru Ming in the secondary. I mean, just a couple of guys, but nothing too big. Now, you could just see how he ended the season. Missouri Tech beat us down. They finished 11-1. We lost to them 7-85, but Western Michigan and NIU, we made that pretty close. So let's just talk about team awards here, which we will introduce. Andre Booker will win Offensive MVP. This might be a surprise to you guys. He had 50 catches for 711 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was just Mr. Consistent for us. He had 8 drops, and that was actually the lowest drop rate of any receiver we had. So he was actually the guy that was the most consistent. He's going into his sophomore year. He was pretty good for us all year long. He was healthy too. Now, defensive-wise, no surprise here, though. Javon Warren, he was our defensive captain, 74 tackles, 12 for loss, and an interception with 4 pass deflections. Now, I'm hoping to get some more playmakers at linebacker. I don't know where that production is going to come from. Wyatt King wasn't bad, which we'll talk about each individual player a little later in this episode, but I do need another impact guy on this defense. Ru Ming showed in flashes, but he wasn't there every single game. So I'm hoping that, you know, somebody else will show up. Now let's talk about our X Factor player of the year. This will go to the guy each season that is kind of unexpected. Maybe not the most improved, but kind of an unexpected X Factor who made an impact on the game that wasn't expected to do too well, but really showed his worth. And this one was Leon Christopher. Now, it came down to Isaiah Ford and Leon Christopher. And Leon Christopher, to me, had a phenomenal season, 33 tackles, 3 sacks. Now, he got after the quarterback when a lot of our guys couldn't. And then he had an interception as well, 2 forced fumbles and 3 pass deflections. I mean, he was all over the box score, so that's why he gets that award. He made a good impact on this team. And then comeback player of the year. So this year, we didn't really have a comeback, so to speak. We had an injury by Isaiah Ford, and he came back and kind of hit the ground running like nothing happened. He will get this award. Next year, it'll go to somebody who kind of came back in season 1 and improved in season 2. That's how that award will be given out. So let's just talk about our conference here overall. Missouri Tech went 11-1, and if it wasn't for that loss to Kansas there, this team could probably be the #1 or 2 team in the nation. That was a bad loss to Kansas. I think they only lost by 3 points. But then they will face Metropolis in the conference championship. Now, Metropolis has not had this good of year at all. This is their greatest season, and Robbie Richardson is to credit to that. He definitely established running the ball. And just looking at how the other side of the conference did pan out, Tulsa State finished at the bottom of that conference. They're actually one of the better rated teams. I was actually really surprised to see that. Now, let's look at our statistics on the year. Davis Lee and Phoenix Frazier. I honestly don't think anybody created any separation going into season 2. Davis Lee was a mobile quarterback, obviously, but I don't think he really did anything passing the ball wise that really separated him. He still threw 20 interceptions. Phoenix Frazier did pretty good. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but I think we needed a spark, and I think Davis Lee provided that because of his mobility. And I think that, you know, going into next season, the offense will change. We're going to move to more of a pro style, especially with a running, with kind of a running game and a better offensive line. I think we'll be able to establish that, because looking at these stats here, these rushing stats, you can just see no running back finished over 100 yards on the season. I mean, that's how bad we were running the ball. We even got them some good carries. I mean, Carter had 40 carries pretty much. And then Colin Quaid came in. He played a couple of good games, but honestly didn't have a huge impact on the offense. And our offensive MVP, Andre Booker, he had a decent season. Now, he is going to probably still be the starter next year on the outside. I liked what he did. He was very productive. Isaiah Ford was a productive tight end as well. He only had 54 speed, and he contributed like he had some pretty good athleticism. I think he was very underrated in this offense. Adrian West's season was cut short, but he did lead our team in touchdowns with 5. And I think that he will have a big bounce back year come next year. I like him in the slot. On the outside, he's just all right to me. He gets double covered a lot out there. I think he gets open more when he plays in the slot. Deion Carter actually is a guy that will line up at running back and at receiver at times. He also will play defense too, so watch out for that. Joshua Paramore, he was decent. He filled in for Jonathan Halka when he got injured. He was pretty good, but you know, honestly, from that 4th wide receiver, that's a big crucial spot on the team, because when we go 5 wide, which we did a whole lot this year, we need a 4th guy that can take the pressure off guys like Adrian West and Isaiah Ford and obviously Booker. Now, Malcolm Tyree, he had a decent season, but a ton of drops. He will move to tight end next year. He'll be the 3rd string tight end. I don't think he's a true receiver. I think he filled in nicely, but I think he definitely needs to improve. Now, one part of our team that does need to improve is the offensive line. I could see this being a complete overhaul. Maybe 1 or 2 guys will still stick around and start, but I mean, our offensive line was terrible. Robert Graves gave up 13 sacks. I mean, that is just too many. And our left tackle, Cooper Hawkins, gave up 10. I mean, this was just a tough year. Even our center, Warren Steele, gave up 10 sacks. I mean, if your center's giving up double-digit sacks, that's how you know your offensive line is bad. We will definitely need to improve that. Now, Sam Price was a guy that I said was going to be the captain coming into this year on the offensive line. He had a decent year, but I think that we need to improve there as well. Javon Warren on defense, our defensive MVP. He led our team in tackles by a long shot. He will still be the starter next year, obviously. And I don't know who else is going to be behind him, because Wyatt King is there. He was 2nd on the team in tackles with 57, 9 tackles for loss. Other than that, on defense, though, I think everybody's a question mark except for maybe Christopher and probably Xavier Phillips. I think Xavier Phillips still has a spot with us. Obviously, everybody still has a spot, but at least a starting spot right now. Jerry Pinnon was a decent safety for us. He's 5'6", 46 overall, but that tackling at 46, I mean, that was really hurting us. He does have good hit power, so he takes a lot of chances with his tackles, but he's just got to be more consistent. Now, Ru Ming was really good. I got to admit, he was really good. He has 69 zone coverage, which definitely helps him. He was 4th on the team in tackles, but he was kind of the last line of defense, so a lot of his tackles came from that. Rondé Floyd was actually our nickel corner. He actually finished 5th in tackles. That was actually a decent season by him. Now, Kyron Favors on the left side of the field at cornerback, he was just okay. He got burnt quite a bit on the outside, and I think that maybe we can improve there. Nick Sturger had a good season. I don't know if he's a true #1 cornerback. He definitely has a spot in our secondary. I don't know if he's #1, though. He had moments where he shined, but we'll have to see. Now, Leon Christopher, like I said, he was amazing for us, and he was our X Factor of the year. He had a pick, 3 sacks. I mean, he showed up everywhere, and he is big too, 6'6". I mean, he's a big guy, so he can pretty much play every single position, even a little bit of nose tackle if he has to, so watch out for that. Now, Aidan Adams, I think, was a disappointment. He had 22 solo tackles, but he started for over half the year and didn't really flash. Along with Desmond Edwards, I think Desmond Edwards had kind of a rough going because he didn't have much of help on his side of the line as far as pass rush goes. So I am actually looking forward to seeing how Edwards can improve. I think he's a decent guy on the defensive front. Now, Cecil Moore is a guy that has 90 strength. I think I'm going to move him over to nose tackle and help with Xavier Phillips. I think that Phillips needs somebody to take the pressure off of him. Gabriel Morales filled in for Aidan Adams. He did decent. I mean, I was looking for a little bit of a spark from, you know, the difference between Aidan Adams and him. I didn't really see it. I still saw the same production, so we'll have to see what we do at that outside linebacker position. And then Xavier Phillips had a great run of the first about 5 games. He finished with 4 sacks, which actually led our team. But he wasn't consistent down the stretch. I think, like I said, getting him somebody that will ease the pressure off of him will help him. And then kicking-wise, we were just horrible. Bill Mary. Now, we didn't even make a field goal all season. 17 for 20 on extra points, that is definitely wrong. We missed a lot more than 3. I don't even know how they keep track of this statistic, but it is 100% wrong. And just looking at, you know, what we're going to do special teams wise, we're going to be looking to have a new kicker and a new punter, as our average on punts was only 31 yards. That should speak volumes. So after the season, we do have a couple of coaching upgrades, starting with defensive coordinator Elgin Lloyd. He gets an upgrade in block shedding, and then Bam Cameron gets an upgrade as well. We will put that carrying up. Let's see what he does with that. Hopefully, we didn't even fumble that ball too much this year because obviously we didn't even run the ball that much. So now we move into conference championship week, and after that, and William Warren from the Whitetails, we faced him. He had 50 total touchdowns. He takes home the Heisman Trophy. And Metropolis in the conference championship beats Missouri Tech by 1, 29-28. That is an amazing score right there. And it looks like, I don't know what happened. It must have been a safety, but Missouri Tech tried to go for 2 points and did not get it. And Metropolis, wow, takes home. And Robbie Richardson's first year as their coach takes home the conference championship. And he, you know, he's going to run the ball. He ran the ball with Brandt 27 times. He got in the end zone 2 times as well. And now this is how the conference or the national rankings do finish out. Texas and Texas A&M are in the national championship. This is very, very surprising. Texas A&M beat the brakes off of Florida in the conference championship, 42-26. Texas went undefeated. And I don't even know how Texas is not even playing in the conference championship. I might need to adjust that because they need to be playing in a conference championship. I don't even know how that's even possible. And looking at the rest of the top 25, it looks like East Gotham is 18. The Whitetails are up there as well. So then we move on to the national championship. It's going to be 2 Texas teams. That's surprising, but I love it here in the year 2030. In the Fiesta Bowl, Metropolis ends up facing Washington, so that's going to be a good game as well. Missouri Tech will take on UNC. The Whitetails take on Auburn, as they are the number 4 team in the nation. Kind of sucks for them. I feel like they had a really good season. If it wasn't for 1 loss, they are the number 4 seed, number 4 ranking. But let's just see if we had any All-American or All-Conference performers. We did not have any All-American. And looking at all conference, it doesn't look like we had one on the first team. Let's just check the second team. As you can see, Brant from Metropolis actually made it as a fullback there. And then let's just see, do we have any defensive guys? No. This is the first time I think I've ever seen that our team doesn't have any all-conference performers. That is just amazing. That just shows how much of a rebuild this is going to be. And I honestly purposely put on the recruiting restrictions so that this will be a long rebuild and that we will have to work hard to get to the top. So next episode will be the off season. You do not want to miss that. A lot of fun ahead. We will see all the new recruits. Remember, if you did submit a recruit, you could possibly still be a preferred walk-on. You will come onto the team with a attribute deduction, -3 for your positional attributes. But that's how we will roll here. Hopefully these guys just get better overall. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
I've been working hard for a minute. The ones who don't deserve it seem to be the ones that get it. The ones who speak the truth never get the recognition, but the ones that act foolish seem to get all the attention. It don't matter though, yeah, and it don't even matter though, nope.